I'm always looking for little utility apps to help me be more efficient and more productive with repetitive tasks. And Dropzone is a really useful app that speeds up some of the workflow items that I do. In this video, we'll take a look at how Dropzone helps me work more efficiently. We'll take a look at holding files in the shelf and what that means. Next, we'll talk about file actions and file workflows. If you're ready to speed up some common tasks on your computer, let's jump in and take a look at Dropzone. The first time you launch Dropzone, it's going to ask you if you want to add this to your login items. I always say yes because I want Dropzone or any of these utility apps to start when my computer starts. That way it's always available to me. Dropzone has a quick tutorial to show you how to use the app. Basically, just drag things up into the Dropzone icon that appears and drop it wherever you need. So here I've got a Finder window open, and I'm just going to click and drag one of these items, and as soon as I start dragging, the Dropzone icon appears in the top center of your screen. And if I hover over that, more options pop up. I've got the drop bar in the top. This is a place where I can just store these files for later. So if I just drop it here, it'll store it. The first time I'm using this, macOS will ask me if Dropzone is okay to use the downloads folder. I'm going to click OK, and now Dropzone has access to that folder. That's a new security feature in macOS Catalina. So I put that in the Dropzone, so if I click on the Dropzone icon, you can see that what I just dragged in there is waiting there for me. So this makes it really easy to move files to different places on your computer. So I don't know if you've ever tried to drag and drop files from one place to another and you've accidentally let go of the mouse and then that file gets dropped somewhere where you didn't intend. Having this little drop area really helps you because you can just drop it there and you can take your hand off the mouse, then you can come over to the Finder window and find exactly where you want to drop it. Like say I want to put it in this movies folder. I can come back here and just drag that out and drop it in here. And then once I drag it out of there, it's been moved. That's a really easy place to store files you want to use. The two main ways that I personally use this is I'll put files in here that I want to attach to emails, and I'll put files in here that I want to move to another place in the system. If the top section was a drop bar, the second section is for folder and app actions. So right now we have one action here, and it's to move an item to the downloads folder. I'm going to take this logo that I just dragged here, I'm going to drag it back to the Dropzone and let it go into downloads. Now that's instantly going to move that to the downloads folder. And because it's the first time that I've used that action, Dropzone is asking me if I want to allow notification. I typically don't allow notifications, but I'm going to click allow just so you can see what that's like. So if I drag this movie and drop it here into downloads, you're going to see that I get a little notification that the move was completed. That's going to go away in a second. Let me come up to Dropzone and click on the plus button. So this first section is where I can add actions. So we already have a move file action for the download folder, but maybe you are often moving things from your downloads folder into your documents folder or into a special project folder. What you can do is you can create an action to move the files. So I'm going to click on move files, and then I'm going to choose a folder. I'm going to choose here in the sidebar the documents folder and click open. So now I've set up a shortcut here in Dropzone to the documents folder. So when I drag and drop something onto that folder, it'll go right into the documents folder. Let me come back here to the documents folder, and you can see I've got a Zoom folder. Let me create another folder here, and I'm going to call this my great project. Now that I have a project folder here, I can create a Dropzone action to move files right into that folder just by clicking on Dropzone, click the plus, move files, and then now I'm going to go to documents and then double click on the migrate project and then open that. Okay, so now I've got a project folder here. Typically for me, having project folders here would make great shortcuts, but really any folder that you want to move files to often would be a great action to create here. So I'm going to create a copy file action. Say I have items in my downloads folder and I want to copy them to, say, the desktop. Let's see what this looks. So a copy action will have a little plus icon in the corner. That's how you can tell the difference between a move action and a copy action. Okay, I'm going to create one more. Let's create an open application action. Before we create this action is a little bit interesting because why would you want to create an open application action? If you double click on a file in Finder, it's going to open an application. As near as I can tell, the main reason you would have this open application action is if you want to open a secondary application with a certain file type. So let's take a look at this. Okay, here's my applications, and I'm going to just sort the applications by name so they come in alphabetical order. So why would I want to even use this open application action? One example that I have is whenever I double click on an image file, it will typically open in Affinity Photo. That's my image editing application. But if I wanted this file to open in the preview app, it's a little bit harder to open an image or a PDF file or something in the preview app because I've got other default apps installed on my system. And that's where this open application action would come in handy. So I'm going to click open in a preview action because if I'm in one of my folders, see I'm in this folder, I've got this headshot of me. And if I double click it, it will open in Affinity Photo. But if I drag it up here and I go to preview, then it'll quickly open this in preview. Using the open application actions for secondary applications really makes a lot of sense. Besides that, I can't really think of another reason why I would set up a lot of those actions. If you've got an idea, please let me know, but I'm kind of stumped as to why that exists. Okay, back here in Dropzone, this third section here are for pre-made actions. These are actions that you can actually download from the Dropzone website or customize these that are here. So for example, this airdrop action here is really useful because on the Mac, it tends to be a lot of mouse clicks when you want to airdrop a file to one of your other devices. So if I come here and I grab the Dropzone icon, come to Dropzone, and I just drop it on airdrop, and I can just drop it to one of my other devices, and then I get a notification that that was completed. So these actions can be really fast ways to access certain things, right? So like email, if I wanted to email one of these icons, I could just drag it up here and drop it on email. So it would immediately open up mail, open up a new message, and drop that image in there. And all I have to do is type who I want to send this email to and then send it off. So that action saves me a lot of different steps. Back here in Dropzone, I'm going to click the plus and look at some more built-in action. Now you've got a few actions for cloud storage. Your own personal servers, Google Drive, and Amazon S3. These cloud storage actions are especially useful because once it's set up, it allows you to drop a file onto the action and it'll upload the file to the cloud storage. So let me set up a Google Drive action and show you how this works. So I'm going to click Google Drive. Okay, I'm going to call this, that's Google Drive. So I need to authorize this. So I'm going to click authorize and it's going to ask for me to log into Google. I'm going to do this off camera and come back with this action setup. Okay, once I've logged into Google Drive, you can see that I've got the green check mark and I can add this action. When I come up to Dropzone, here's the action. So let me drop something on there. Let me drop my headshot onto this action. And actually now it's going to ask me which folder I want to save this to. I'm going to save it to the root of Google Drive. I could also click here and choose a different folder, but I'm just going to click OK. I get a notification that it's completed. On my other computer, I have an Amazon S3 action set up. And when I use this action, a link to the file is copied to the clipboard so I can immediately share it. You'll see some other actions here that you'll want to use. You can even create your own action if you're the developer type, or you can click on more actions and this will open up the Dropzone webpage and you can find some other action. YouTube Downloader is a good action if you want to download some YouTube files. As you start to install more actions, you could get a little cluttered here. Or maybe you find that you don't use an action and you want to remove it. When you have Dropzone open, you just have to hold down the Option key. You get the familiar jiggling of the icons, and you can actually rearrange them by clicking and dragging, or you can click on the X and remove these actions. Okay, so I don't need to copy there. I don't need to use the downloads folder. I love the email action. I love AirDrop. I don't use this Imgur service, and I don't shorten URLs. So I'm going to delete those. And these are the actions that I'm typically going to use. Maybe I'll add some more later. Now that I've kind of managed these actions, I'm going to let the Option key go and we're back to the normal layout. So Dropzone is a really useful utility to perform quick actions on your files. I love the drop bar to hold files temporarily while I'm moving them around my computer. I like to set up project files in the folders and apps section of the current projects that I'm working on. And I like to set up some of these actions to cloud services and to quickly access some of the functions on my computer. I hope you find Dropzone useful for your workflow, but for me, I really enjoy it.